So welcome back, I'm Sean. We've previously reviewed the QR65 and found that it's a fantastic speaker for your desktop setup, and it's a speaker I've been rocking for a while now, and I've also wanted to try it with a sub-out feature, and today let's Frankenstein it, so let's check it out. So the subwoofer today was sent over to me by Edifier for a review, and this is not a sponsored post, and my review will be based on my honest and unbiased opinion. And if you're new here, please consider subscribing and ring the notification bell so you won't miss any future tech reviews. So the Edifier T5 is Edifier's dedicated subwoofer system, and it's not made specifically for the QR65, although I hope that in the future there will be one that meets the design of the QR65. But the T5 today comes in at a very price-friendly 649 Malaysian ringgit, or about 150 US dollars. It's a simple system and it's not complicated to set up, and I think it's a good fit for our speakers today, so if you're interested in buying one, do check out my links below. So to first get it out of the way, the T5 here is not made specifically for QR65, but it's more for a bigger home theater setup, and probably it's used for a bigger living room environment because this subwoofer is really very powerful, and depending on how you adjust it, if you max it out, it's definitely too powerful for me to use in my small studio setting. So design wise, this is an understated subwoofer, and if you want to put it in a corner under your TV cabinet, this would work really well because it's square and stealthy, but I still much prefer the modern look of the Edifier B700 subwoofer. So the T5 is rightfully heavy, coming in at 13.6 kilos, which you might need to be careful when you're lifting it, but all you need to do is just place it on the ground and you're good to go, so you don't really have to carry it around all the time. So the reason this is heavy is because you get a fantastic build quality here, and the entire cabinet of the woofer is made of a 21mm thick MDF wood enclosure. What I like about this is that they say it's the woofer that makes your house rattle and not the woofer rattle itself, so I think this does a great job. And because this woofer makes a lot of power and low-end rumble, you need a thicker, heavier wood cabinet to hold everything together. At the front of the unit is a mesh grille with a very subtle Edifier logo at the bottom of the unit, and the mesh grille is also removable, so you can expose the driver unit inside, which in this case comes with an 8-inch woofer driver, which Edifier coins it to be distortion free, and you can see the metal dome in the middle, which looks really cool, and you also get a silver front that makes the subwoofer look really nice and modern. At the bottom, you get solid fits for the woofer to stand on, and for any subwoofer system, the ideal position is to place it on the ground so that it has something solid to reflect on, and if you can also face it to some kind of wall, it will be ideal. So connectivity here is pretty simple, and what you get here is a power port at the bottom as well as the on-off power switch, and the 3 controls you get with your woofers, and also RCA inputs as well as RCA outputs. And for me to connect this to the QR65, what I need is to use the included RCA to 3.5mm cable, since the sub-out on the QR65 is a 3.5mm port, and then connect it to the T5 via the RCA output, and you get the whole system working very easy. So I'm happy that there are controls for the subwoofer, and that you at least get control for how much bass you want coming through, because if they don't provide you with that control, it will not meet the need for most room sizes. So the first knob you get here is the volume knob that controls how loud you want the subwoofer to sound, and the second knob here is the low pass filter knob, or you can look at it as the bass intensity and how much frequencies you actually want to pass off to the subwoofer. So it ranges from 30Hz to 160Hz, so the higher the knob that you turn it, the higher frequencies of bass also gets passed through to the subwoofer and doesn't get generated by the main speaker. So if you plop it to 30Hz, meaning only the very low end of the bass spectrum gets passed on to the subwoofer. So finally, it's the phase switch, which you can adjust it from 0 to 180 to match or reverse the phase movement of the subwoofer versus your main speakers, in this case the QR65. One thing I wish that we have here is a line out control that I can place on my desk for controlling the intensity of the bass. This is more for a convenient thing and not so much of a problem I'm trying to fix, but fortunately in my experience, setting this up only one time will be sufficient, and you can really just set it and forget about it. So volume on the subwoofer is a little different than the ones on speakers, but what you get here is a pretty loud sub, so it's more to control the intensity of of the bass and the loudness of the bass. So you can experience this, but because the woofer is situated on the ground and the knobs are behind, you might need to tune it louder and deeper, and as soon as you get up from the ground, you will hear the bass reduce a fair bit, so you just need to tune it a little stronger than you normally would. So for me, a comfortable sub volume I can start to enjoy on my studio room here is around slightly less than 50% on the volume knob, and anything above that feels a little bit too strong, that maybe it's for a larger room or living room, since having it loud will start to rattle my ceiling, which is not ideal. So that is something that you need to mess around with to really find what suits your situation. Also, since this is not a speaker, you won't get too much features on this speaker. Power-wise, you're getting a 70 watt RMS output, means the speaker easily performs at 70 watts and has plenty of power to generate bass from most room sizes, except really big halls. So the sub also has a low pass filter, as we've mentioned earlier, so you can tune it to see how low a frequencies that the main speaker will start to pass off to the subwoofer. So this is something that you can tune on one of the knobs on the subwoofer itself. And the subwoofer also comes with a feature to auto put it into sleep mode when you're not using it, which is extremely useful since it will draw significantly less power, but that also translates for you to wait about 2 to 3 seconds for the sub to wake up for the first time you play music on it. So there's also a specific frequency that we want to talk about when reviewing the Edifier T5 sub, and it's definitely unlike traditional speakers that we review. So with the QR65, I think the pairing here is really good, because with this you actually get to amplify the speaker's sound signature that creates a whole and complete sound signature, especially in the bass department. So the QR65 already has basic bass performance even as a 2.0 unit with the maze tube technology, but the bass performance here is definitely no match if you want to compare it with even the most basic 2.1 system with a subwoofer. So now with the 38Hz low pass filter, most of the low end bass can now be channeled to the subwoofer, and you can also get to enjoy the deeper sub bass and mid bass with no problems. And the bass performance here is also really solid, not sounding like small 4-inch or smaller subwoofers and kind of lacks the body. This 8-inch sub definitely pumps sufficient power to give you that amazing bass performance. So throw any bassy music to it, EDMs, technos, jazz, pop, ballad, they all sound really great here. And with some music genres, you do get that low hum from the extreme low bass performance, especially when you're listening it at higher volumes, but this is where you need to adjust and tune the subwoofer a little bit to get the sound that you really want. Also, if you're familiar with messing with the phase switch, you can also try it out to see how it will affect your sound signature, especially if you have the sub placed in an odd position. So overall, adding this sub created a fantastic sound signature, and I think it's a great pairing if you have the QR65, so definitely give it a try. So now let's take a listen to the QR65 with and without the T5 subwoofer.
It's almost like falling in love for the first time, all over again. Hold on tight to the feeling, but it's a roller coaster in my head. So I'm holding myself on a precipice, and I've been dreaming off the ground. So I'm looking for something that's happening. I'm praying you don't let me down. It's gotta be all. It's gotta be all or nothing. All or nothing. Oh, it's gotta be all or nothing. All or nothing.
So for me, this is definitely a worthwhile add-on to the QR65, and it's also not too expensive that it will break the bank. The only thing that it doesn't do is to blend in with the modern look of the QR65. So hopefully we get to see a nice design in the future specifically for the QR65. But for now, I think this is a worthy upgrade for your sound signature if you already have the QR65. So that is it for this review. If you find this video helpful, smash that thumbs up button, share this video everywhere, and if you haven't yet subscribed, do consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next video.